Hello and welcome to Foreign Correspondent. I'm Mark Corcoran on assignment here in Bolivia. There's a lot of mistrust in the information business. Whenever polls are conducted on trustworthiness, journalists tend to finish right down there in the basement. But the future of news may well belong to a new generation of former hackers and activists. Tonight, we comprehensively road test that new model of information delivery, Wikileaks. Here's Andrew Fowler.
We're being lied into a wrongful and hopeless war.
Every organization rests upon a mountain of secrets.
They're drawn together from opposite sides of the world at a New York conference demanding less government secrecy.
Skyping in from Australia, Julian Assange, the co-founder of Wikileaks.org.
Julian Assange, Australian-born editor-in-chief of the internet whistleblower site Wikileaks.
Julian, do you want to answer the question? Do you think...
Leaking is inherently an anti-authoritarian act. It's inherently an anarchist act.
And his hero, Daniel Ellsberg. Famous for outing US government lies about the Vietnam War, Ellsberg was called the most dangerous man in America.
And I believe that Barack Obama was lying when he implied to the public in his State of the Union message, just like Lyndon Johnson in '65, that there was a limit, a low limit to what he's going to put into Afghanistan.
Hotel 26, Crazy Horse 18, have 5 to 6 individuals with AK-47s. Request permission to engage.
Assange and Wikileaks hit the headlines for this, releasing a classified US video showing civilians being gunned down in Iraq.
Okay, so I approach this from two different perspectives.
The Wikileaks exclusive illuminated the failures of the mainstream media and made Julian Assange an enemy of the US government.
You can create bait to draw dragons out of their cave legally.
As Assange addressed the conference from the safety of Australia, the US military was secretly interrogating one of his suspected sources. They also have their sights on Assange.
I'm sure it's a high priority for them to try to neutralize him one way or another. And I wouldn't exclude physical danger, but in particular ways, trying to find ways to discredit him or to keep him from communicating with possible sources is a very high priority for them.
Ellsberg should know. In 1971, he leaked the Pentagon Papers. Until recently, he was one of the few US government employees ever to be prosecuted for leaking.
I wonder if there are many people here who wouldn't think that 10 years in prison was very cheap if they could contribute to ending this war.
But the Obama administration is cracking down on whistleblowers. In 17 months, it's outdone all previous administrations in pursuing leakers.
The Obama administration, very briefly, is as secretive as the Bush administration in matters of so-called national security, in matters of war and peace and aggression, and in many cases have gone beyond Bush. So I hope that in the future, WikiLeaks will induce a great deal more leaking.
For the past 3 years, WikiLeaks has challenged governments everywhere, outing human rights violations in Guantanamo Bay, exposing political murders in Africa, and banks laundering money through offshore tax havens. WikiLeaks has hit the political left and right, and won media awards from Amnesty International and The Economist magazine. Naturally enough, WikiLeaks is very guarded and difficult to track down. Arranging meetings involves a lot of cloak and dagger. conversations in lifts so no one can be bugged. Locations and times of meetings shift at the last minute. Why is it necessary to go through an elaborate counterintelligence operation just to sit down for a TV interview?
Yeah, well, it may seem elaborate to you, but it just seems everyday to me. The issue is not my safety. Rather, the issue is the safety of our sources. So there's just some simple precautions, but it's enough to make it costly and inconvenient to spy on us and try and find out who our sources are.
Wikileaks built an information system it thinks is foolproof. Instead of secret documents physically changing hands, they're anonymously sent to digital drop boxes and stored on servers around the world. Finally, they're posted on the Wikileaks site.
What we want to create is a system where there is guaranteed free press across the world, the entire world, that every individual in the world has the ability to publish material that is meaningful. We are kept honest by the fact that we release primary source material, and journalists who base their articles on us, on our materials, are also kept honest because readers can check what does a primary source say.
It's been a meteoric ride to the top for Julian Assange. His WikiLeaks idea grew out of a Melbourne teenage computer hackers club in the 1980s known as the International Subversives. In October 1989, the hackers targeted the US space mission.
This kind of an attack was really something that nobody thought was going to happen, and later we would describe things as an electronic Pearl Harbor.
Ron Tenkati was on duty at NASA Control when the computers went haywire. As control staff prepared for the launch of the nuclear-powered Galileo probe aboard the Atlantis space shuttle, the word wank stared back at them from their screens.
And you see this banner that says "Worms Against Nuclear Killers." And, you know, we at the time at NASA, we had a shuttle on the launch pad about to launch that had plutonium energy canisters for its power source. If this blew up like the Challenger did, all of this plutonium is going to kill everybody in Florida.
One clue to where the attack came from appeared at the bottom of the screen. The lyrics of Australian rock band Midnight Oil.
You talk of times of peace for all and then prepare for war. Yeah.
Julian Assange was part of the hacker club, but specifically denies being involved in the Wankworm attack. Nevertheless, police attention focused on his activities.
The telecom network is easy. There are no barriers after that once you get through.
Yeah, no, Julian needs to be conscious of his security. But
former Australian Federal Police Officer Ken Day was part of the investigating team.
He was monitoring what we were up to and knew that we would be coming sometime, but we were monitoring him, monitoring us, so we were one step ahead of him.
Yeah, that's right. Should be all right from about 11 o'clock tonight.
Julian Assange and all the hackers, it was ego. They were there in a very new field, and they had to prove they were the best.
Police tracked Assange's hacking to Melbourne's main telephone exchange. He was piggybacking on its computer power to launch his overseas adventures.